rocking the health world through the power of radio. It's the Robert Scott Bell Show.
Back into the realm of quantum computing with Mike Adams, the Health Ranger, here on the Robert Scott Bell Show. Mike, this story that we covered, actually for months we've been covering, since you talked about the quantum computing, most recently the acquisition of computers that seemingly take a step closer to this. We talked about the controversy of computers with consciousness and how this could activate what's called Skynet in the science fiction realm. But those realities are there, and there are people that are deluded and bizarre enough to believe that might be a good thing. Who is this guy Kurzweil? What's this all about?
Well, Ray Kurzweil is the leader of the cult known as transhumanism. He's also the director of engineering at Google. Now, this guy, he's got a bit of a following, and he says that by the year 2045, we can all merge with the machines by uploading our minds to computers and discarding our bodies. Now, there's another guy who, and by the way, we'll talk about whether that's technologically feasible in a second.
Yes.
Because we're going to debunk all that, by the way. But there's another guy that had a similar promise, and his name was Marshall Applewhite, and he ran a cult in California too called Heaven's Gate. And he said that you're all going to merge with the alien mothership when it arrives on the back of the Hale-Bopp comet. And he and his followers all committed suicide all in one night when the comet was nearby, so that they could then discard their bodies and merge with the alien machines.
By the way, we have no evidence that they didn't actually merge with some alien machine here. Just a little disclaimer there. We weren't there.
Well, you're right. All we know is that the coroner was very busy that night chucking bodies into the cooler. So maybe they did actually merge with the alien machines. Who knows?
We wish them all the best. But no, this is a bizarre. Of all the bizarre stories we've covered, this one is right up there with this transhumanism cult. I guess I don't know the dogma of that cult. Do you have a little bit of insight into what they claim besides this ability to merge with computers or something?
Well, yeah, it's a science-based cult, which immediately brings up talk of Scientology, which gets an enormous amount of ridicule for some of its bizarre science fiction underpinnings, and some of the weird galactic science stuff that they tend to talk about. Ray Kurzweil takes that to a whole new level. Believe me, Ray Kurzweil's cult makes Scientology look as conservative as Christianity.
Wow.
Kurzweil says that by the year 2045, and by the way, he gave a lecture about this last week. This is not us making up what he's saying. This is he said it. It's written up in The Guardian and newspapers all over the country. He says this openly. He says that by the year 2045, they'll be able to scan your brain, to scan every neuron in your brain, and then they'll be able to build a replica computer that is modeling your brain, that has basically the same circuitry, the same equivalent computational facility. And then you'll be able to scan your brain and like a copy and paste operation, paste your brain into the machine, and then the machine will begin to function as you. And they say this is, quote, uploading your mind to the computer where you will live forever in digital immortality, and then you can discard your body, which probably means drinking some Kool-Aid at some point, laced with arsenic, right?
Are you sure this is not just something like cartoon on Fox or something that I've seen before?
I know. No, it sounds like it, but I'm telling you, this is real, Robert. This is Ray Kurzweil's vision.
Wow.
But the vision is broken because there's no mechanism in this whole plan to transfer your soul, your consciousness. All they're creating is a simulation of you in a computer, and then if you kill your body, you just die. Your soul never makes it to the computer.
Mike, that was one of the issues of the discussion. We ran out of time last time when we were talking about the consciousness of these quantum computers. The spirit, the essence, that's that spiritual concept versus this mental or mind construct that we're just a computer. I mean, this is the ultimate state of materialistic reductionism that you find in a lot of modern medicine. And they do have a cult because the cult is called not science, but scientism. It's the worship of science, but it's not even real science.
Well, right. And in the scientific community, they don't believe in the existence of consciousness. They think it's an artifact of a sufficiently complex computational neurobiological system. So they don't think there is a soul. Now, you and I believe that your soul is a non-physical element that interfaces with your physical brain, which is why you have consciousness. We know that you are more than your body, which is why if your soul leaves your body, if you die, your body is still there, but you are not there. You're gone, even though your body is left behind. So you are different from your body. Now, they can replicate your brain probably by 2045 and put it in a machine, but it doesn't mean you are in the machine. All it means is they've created a convincing replica of you. Now, in the years past, someone could take a photograph of you and they could say, you've achieved immortality through the photograph. Or in modern day movie making, for example, they can use a motion capture device. They could capture your motion and they could render a computer graphics version of you on a screen that walks and talks and looks just like you. And it might be convincing to someone to say that's you, but it's still not you. It's just a replica of you. So if you follow Ray Kurzweil into this transhumanist future, you may end up having your brain scanned and then creating a replica of your brain in a machine, and then you drink the Kool-Aid that Ray hands you and you kill yourself. And then your friends think you're in the machine, but you're not. You see? You see where that goes?
Don't drink the Google-Aid. I'm just saying.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not looking good up there. I'm really stunned by it because this is not a story I've actually followed. I guess I kind of dismiss these folks as being so far out of the realm of that I'm like, okay, why do I want to cover this? Unless it's for humor's sake. But it's not humorous when someone like the Marshall Applewhites of the world will take a lot of folks with them out of the life chain, promising them, binding to a Hale-Bopp comet or some alien behind it. So there is, I guess, is anybody raising a little alarm bell here with this guy, or is he just kind of carrying on because he's a Google guy?
There's no skepticism of it. It's amazing, or very little. I mean, it's funny when guys like Alex Jones say, oh, the Department of Homeland Security is buying 2 billion bullets, they scream at him, conspiracy theorists, that can't possibly be true. But when Ray Kurzweil says you're going to upload your mind to a machine and discard your body and live forever in digital immortality, they say, oh, yeah, of course. That's true.
I'm volunteering Dianne Feinstein, Nancy Pelosi, and Lindsey Graham to go first. John McCain, too.
Yeah, exactly. Because if they do transfer their brains to computers, we can always just hit delete.
Yeah, well, that's a pause, delete, whatever, put it in there and put it in a museum so people can observe people that really lost sight of the meaning of life itself.
Yeah, I think we need to upload McCain's brain and stuff it into a VIC-20 from, what year was that, like 1984 or something?
I don't even know. What an image.
Yeah, or take Feinstein, put her in a TRS-80 from Tandy.
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, you could connect their brains to drones because they don't seem to have problems with droning other people around the world, much less American citizens at this point. So maybe they could live out their fantasies, just kind of bind to that technology.
Yeah, exactly. There's all kinds of interesting things we could do with their brains if we do manage to scan them and upload them. But, this just proves the point that people will believe almost any kooky nonsense, but then they're skeptical of what's real. So, the NSA really is spying on you. Nobody believes that, or very few. But then they will believe that, follow Ray Kurzweil, your brain's going to be transferred to a cybernetic entity and you're going to live forever as a digital avatar. It's like, wow, people, maybe some of their brains are so small that you could transfer them in mere seconds. I mean, there's not much to transfer.
Well, put them into an old iPod, with a low gigabyte. When it was still megabytes, it'll still fit.
I got to tell you. But it makes me wonder about where humanity really is headed when people, this is Google. This is Google's head of engineering. What else is Google into that's kind of kooky and culty like that? Is there going to be a Google cult that comes out of this where you have to have a partial lobotomy or something to be part of the in crowd, or how does that work?
Well, listen, the speculation is wild here, but as I said, a lot of this information about Kurzweil and this transhumanism is new, and as I hear it, I still am thinking, somebody's got to be at Google going, get this guy out of here. Anybody? or if
no,
not,
they invited him in.
Wow.
No, they hired him just, I don't know, a couple years ago. When he was preaching the same stuff, they brought him in. They're like, yeah, this sounds great. Let's bring this guy in.
Well, where's the next search engine we can leap to? Because this one's gone well beyond the deep end.
Well, Start Page, is the privacy search engine. That's the one that I tend to use. Mm-hmm. But, look, there are going to be some very advanced robots, okay? There's going to be some AI. We talked about quantum computing. That's real. That's already here. They've already got 512 qubit computers, quantum computers, that are running, and Google has one of those.
Yeah, no, that kind of technology, as you say, is real. It is happening. It is manifesting. And, the concern we all have for that is if it starts running itself. And, the humans are bad enough with creating this stuff and trying to control it or controlling it for evil purposes. But certainly to not have any governor on that or an ability to do a kill switch on it, that is greatly concerning.
Yeah, what we really see is, especially with Google, a lot of really high IQ individuals running around like children with their fingers on nuclear launch buttons. They have no wisdom. They have no core philosophy. They're just really, really smart, but really, really stupid when it comes to wisdom. Mm-hmm. They're technically smart, but lacking wisdom. So that's a very dangerous combination. That's what gives us things like atomic bombs, or maybe a singularity of death, because Ray Kurzweil always talks about the singularity is coming, the singularity is coming. Well, in his mind, that might mean everybody marches into a gas chamber so they can be uploaded into his network, patent pending Kurzweil cybernetic Skynet system. I mean, anything is possible with these people. They're a little crazy. They're insane, some of them.
Yeah. Well, I guess if we boil it down to some simple concept or context, we would say technology, high-level technology without consciousness is always dangerous and perhaps always deadly. And there are certainly reference points in history, some in pre-recorded history, evidences of ancient civilizations that may have destroyed themselves for similar reasons. And we humans seem to be stupid enough to make the same mistake over and over and over again.
Well, that's right. And they say that they think they're going to become God when they merge with the machines. They don't believe in God. They don't believe in consciousness, but they're going to become God when they merge with the machines. That is a cult, buddy.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's an overemphasis on the mind, a worship of the mind, if you will. And it isn't that we're against being mentally having acuity and thoughts, but the thing is they've kind of separated that out, and they're no longer thinking rationally or clearly or even questioning whether these ideas are are reasonable or good.
No. Well, that's the thing. The skepticism needs to be a general purpose property of your thinking processes. You need to be skeptical of everything, ask questions of everything, like you and I tend to do.
Yeah, critical thinking.
We didn't just sign up for I don't know, a cult of nutrition. We looked at the science. Nutrition really works, and your body needs nutrition to stay healthy. Your mind, your brain runs on some your blood and the nutrients in your blood. Your brain needs the right nutrients to be healthy so you can think clearly, and so on and so forth. It's based in reality and science. Even homeopathy is based in science. There's scientific evidence that homeopathy works. Even though we don't know how, we know it works through randomized double-blind placebo-controlled studies. So, but merging your mind with a machine, that's something we need to be skeptical about.
Yeah. Listen, it's not all about the molecules. There's energy too. That's the reality of it. And we continue to cover that story here on the Robert Scott Bell Show with Mike Adams, the Health Ranger, through Natural News, naturalnewsradio.com, also at robertscottbell.com. We'll continue to keep up with these bizarre happenings, including this transhumanism Google cult, perhaps, as it might emerge to be. Mike, always a pleasure. Some stories are more bizarre than others. Yeah. Yes. Well, thanks for being here. Googletology. Yes. All right. Well, we'll come back with some good names with that as well. But, Mike, always a pleasure to have you on board. Thanks for dropping by with this story, and we'll keep you up to date. And everybody keep coming back to Natural News and Natural News Radio right here on the Robert Scott Bell Show.
All right. Thanks, Robert.
Live around the world, the Robert Scott Bell Show.